No idea what you're talking.
All right, it is 6 o'clock. We will call the meeting to order. We have a quorum with our 4-person board. First order of business is to accept the minutes of the January 31st regular meeting. Do you have a motion?
Motion to accept the minutes?
Any questions, discussion?
Anybody's second? Second.
Oh, okay, thanks.
The only question, Janet, is I think that we need to add the vote that was taken after we came out of executive session that Carrie didn't have.
Oh, okay. That's my fault. I didn't do her. I have those written down. I'll send them to you, Carrie.
Just results from a vote on a concealed weapons permit for those that are interested. With those added, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, visitor comments and petitions. Is there anybody here that wants to address anything that's not currently on the agenda? Go ahead, babe.
I got several things. This is a bill for a mirror on my plow truck. I got a lot of questions. Number one is when these people are cutting the roads, when the trees are across the road, why do they cut right flush with the road? Why can't they spend a little extra time and, maybe take it into the woods a little bit? That's one question. Cause Cemetery Road, Janet called and said we had the sand down there, which Mike took a picture. There wasn't hardly any ice. If you'd like to see the picture, I've got it on my phone. And with the wing up, he hit a tree that was sticking out in the road. It was just cut off flush with the road, and the wing was all the way up, which therefore hit my mirror. And I've already told Janet, if this keeps going on, this has been going on since I've had the plow contract back 20 years ago, or whatever it was. Nothing is being done on side of the roads. You people that, whoever come up with the idea of just pushing the brush into the ditch, for Christ's sakes, man, who the hell's gonna pull their ass out on that and get it up, back out into the road so you can take care of it? It's all tangled up. It's a big mistake. East Shore Drive, they did a hell of a job on that wall down there. I'm impressed. Raina's Cove has got to be addressed. You're gonna lose that road too.
Which one?
Lorena's Cove, Rothschild's Hill.
Creoles.
I know
Yeah,
you guys don't see it. I walk around, I get down on the banks and I look at it. You're gonna lose it. It's gonna cost a lot of money to fix it. It's gonna cost a
Yeah,
lot
I've
of
already
money to fix
spoken
it
to
now.
Bill Lane about that. He looked at that when he was out here.
Great, but it's gotta be addressed. At least do some ditching. What else? Down Nancy's Cove, that's all washed out. It's a mess down there, and someone, who the hell ditched it?
Where's Nancy's Cove?
Charlotte's Cove, I'm sorry.
Oh,
No.
Charlotte's Cove.
East Shore Drive, the other end, below Impey's. That ought to be addressed. Even though we're not allowed to use it that way. Hold on. I was hoping I could remember it all. Okay, got them two things, and now what about when we have Lucas over here, all these leaning trees? Why can't they snip them off? They're just an accident waiting to happen. Last month, there was someone killed because the tree happened to fall over that was leaning, and it killed them. That could happen here. It probably won't, but it could. What would be the odds of maybe taking care of the leaning trees? I've asked the town crew, and they say it's not their job. What the hell is their job?
Lucas is never here for us. They're here for CMP, so they only
Couldn't you
do,
hire someone with a bucket truck?
well, that's possible. Yeah, but, I've talked to homeowners. I don't know what leaning trees you're talking about, like Bill Tilden, by Bill Tilden's property. That's a
one.
tree that
Yeah.
has been leaning, that belongs to Wasana, which is Brigham.
Mhm.
We've spoken to them. But, I prefer homeowners did it than the town.
Yeah, but gonna shut the power off when it goes. I believe in maintenance, preventive maintenance. There's so much that's gotta be done on this island. We haven't even got cleaned up from last year's storms. We just push it into the ditch. Well, that's not the answer. We gotta spend some money on town roads. Another question is, how about, up to the Narrows? I know there's nothing you can do there now. What they've done is great. It's working. But once this frost comes out, that's gonna start rotting up. Are we gonna pave this year?
If I have money, we get money for the budget, which will be
Well-
after July first.
I think as much damage as what I've seen on this island up to Joint Point, there's a lot of work that's gotta be done here, and maybe we should put some of this other stuff on hold and fix what's already broke.
What other
Anyone
stuff?
know what I'm talking about here? I mean, I'm not good with words.
What other stuff on hold?
Oh, your fire station up north, this building out here, your health center. I mean, we keep taking the paving out to do other things. I don't think we need a fire station up island. If we need a fire station up island, I'd like to have a salt and sand shed down here, so I can at least get the salt and sand.
Well, we have talked for the past, couple of months about, about identifying kind of all the places, all of the road, developing kind of a road maintenance plan, recognizing that, the ditching and those kinds of things, the preventative maintenance are things that can be done that will save us money in the long term.
Always gonna say-
And certainly the last couple of storms have highlighted the additional money that we need to start putting aside to also to take care of the repairs that are now backlogged from the past two storms, but also to build up so that we don't have a situation where we clear the paving fund in order to take care of the emergency on East Shore Drive. So, you know, I think it's a point well taken that we definitely need as a town as we enter the budgeting process next month, that, you know, we've got to really think hard about how much we need to set aside to make sure that we are prepared. And, you know, I think as far as some of the other projects that are coming along, making sure that we are prepared for, you know, times when the Narrows is issue. I mean, I think it's all part of, our, how we mitigate risk. And doing so in as fiscally responsible way as possible is, you know, I think what we're all shooting for. I don't know if anybody else has any comments or response.
I really appreciate you bringing in your concerns and I won't say it as well as Shay, but what it reminds us of over and over again is we need to do the long-term planning, not to fix it every time a storm comes along to Janet's credit, I think they've done a pretty good job. We've just been hit with a lot of things, one thing after the other, and a lot of need on the island. And I think, we just recognize that we need to do a better job of long-term planning, and Shay's really leading the discussion on that. But to take her words right out of her mouth, your point is well taken. And it's not wasted words, you know, because even though we already kind of really realize we need to move forward with better planning, hearing it from somebody who's out there doing the work for us, many times helping the town over and over and over again, really helps to bring it home, and to put, I guess, some better arguments on our point that we need to do these forward thinking. And a big part of it is just budget, and that's coming up right away. So I don't know if you want to say anything more about the budget process, but.
The thing is, though, the longer you wait, the more of these, like Sprague Beach, look at the rocks on the beach,
Yeah,
they've washed out. Let's get someone up there, put them back. I'm not looking for work. I don't want any of the work, but someone ought to do something
Yeah.
before it gets any worse.
Yeah.
Water was coming right up over the road today, because the wind was screeching.
Yeah.
But I believe someone told me a while back, this last storm, that if you go there now, you can retrieve the rocks. if you don't do it within a year or so, whatever the deadline was, then you're gonna have to get permits.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, they could have been filling me full of bull. There's a lot of places I'd like to see, I mean, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
But I am tired of my mirrors breaking, the ice is on the alders and stuff, it brings the trees down and they're wiping the top lights out, them lights are over $200 a piece, them strobe lights. I've been here before, talking with Janet, or Manny, when Manny was here, and nothing seems to be done. I'm kind of frustrated.
yeah,
I could have got the rest of the truckers in here, but I said, no, I'm not gonna bother anyone, I'm gonna bother you people.
yep,
I mean, there's a culvert down by Dory Ingstrom's that's washed out right to the road. If someone pulls, that's a narrow road. Someone pulls over there, especially in a dump truck, it's gonna be serious with a load on it.
Yeah.
I see this stuff. When you see me across the yellow line when I'm coming at you, I'll get it back, cause I'm looking at stuff. I'll get back, trust me.
thank you.
Once I set my beer down. No, I just wanted to bring this up again, and I'd like to leave this, and what you
Yeah.
do with it is up to you, but I have no more to say.
Thank you, babe.
Thank you for listening.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Who do I get? Get with Janet?
Sure.
This is legit from Stanley Chevrolet. Thank you.
This is the repair for the bill, or the repair bill
Yeah.
for the mirror?
That's what he said it would cost,
Okay.
and whether you paid or not, that's up to you. I just brought it in. Is there anything I should hang around for? What are you guys here for?
Just fun.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, babe. Yes.
May I speak to what they just said, briefly?
Mhm.
I don't want to lengthen the meeting because we are. On the Energy Committee, we have talked about overhanging trees, power lines and so on. There are a lot of them. Is there any possibility of mobilizing volunteer work and animating the people who own the property along the roads to do some of the trimming to contribute to the problem or the resolution of the problem? End of story. Don't need a discussion, just an idea.
Thank you. Yeah, I think, it sounds like as we look at our maintenance plan for next year and going forward with, when we look at what I think we need to talk about what we could maybe partner with Lucas on and pay them to help us with the town when they're coming out for CMP anyway, and what is appropriate for kind of a homeowner education campaign.
It's hard to get them, because they're pretty much tied up with CMP.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's other companies.
Is there a reason that the trees are not getting trimmed further back by the town? Is it?
Well, it might be the fire
Property line.
department. I don't know who cut that tree on Maple Grove. I can't say it was Public Works. It could be the fire department, but when they're there and they're just trying to open the road, that's what they do. And then Public Works should be going back, cutting it, and I may have to find some other people to do that besides Public Works. Some of those trees are pretty big.
It's not, that's the second time in a couple months now, this exact issue has been brought up. Every time we keep, yeah, we appreciate it, but I'm wondering if we can mobilize Jordan and Don more, or have, become a bit more interactive when these storms happen. I noticed that, well, many places.
And they would be best to be here and speak. And Merck, I could say about the fire department, like I said, they just cut and go and the.
Well, I think we all understand the emergency issue of it, of just
Right.
cutting it to there at that point.
Sure, but
But then to Pete's point of the aftercare, the 2 days later, 3 days later, making sure that it's getting removed out and not just left.
Yeah, that sounds really good, but other things come up, people are out. I mean, I haven't had a full crew. Seems like for illnesses or people out, so it's not like, and there's just a lot of other things to do and more storms and.
Especially after all these storms, so it's,
Yeah, it's been a hell of a December and January.
But I think just making sure that the feedback is getting passed on, that it is a priority and that, we have gotten comments about it and understanding how it fits within the, the list of other things is helpful for us. and being able to respond to community concerns that we're hearing.
Yeah. I want to follow up on what Bill said too. I mean, and Janet, that I don't know exactly the best way to handle it, but letting the homeowners know that it's important to take care of trees and other, ditching and that sort of thing on their property. I don't know along the roadway where private property ends and town property begins, or we.
Depends on which road, how wide it
Yeah.
is, but usually from the center line, it's 25 feet out.
Yeah, so maybe this is a discussion for you with us at a different time, but sorting through and thinking if we can do something around mobilizing or informing at least private owners to make sure that their properties are taken care of as best they can. And then your idea of long-term maintenance management, that's, I think, the key.
Anything else on this topic or anything else that is not on the agenda? All right, since we have so many people here, I think for the museum committee, should we take the, meeting out of order so that you guys can, we can move you to the front? Do I have a motion? So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
I'm looking this way and I miss it when your head is up.
All
You
right,
have to be vocal.
museum committee, you're up.
I know, because I'm looking here.
Yeah. I'll slide over this way when there's a vote. So I can see.
Hi, thank you. Well, thanks for having us, having you on the agenda to meet with you. What we'd really like to do is very briefly, we need to make sure we're on the same wavelength that the select board is. There's a lot of projects we're working on. There's a lot of things we want to do. But we want to make sure we're not going the wrong way. So just give you a little bit of an idea. Some of the things that right now involved with. We just wrote a grant for fixing up the Lantern Room. And we pushed the button on send today, so that's gone. We're then going to be working on another grant, which is to fix up the tower, inside the tower. It was a grant through the King Foundation last year. We were told that because we didn't have a local response, they didn't want me the lead person, because we didn't have much money through donations. And so they wanted to see somebody that might donate a large sum of money. And that was the thing that prevented us from having getting that grant. They thought was everything else they liked. So we're gonna resubmit, not make a lot of changes, because they like what we want to do. So we want to continue trying to get grants, different kind of grants. We're working with some of the other, trying to establish working relationship with the other lighthouses, different organizations, and they can help us with some of the grants. Not all of it can be done by grants. There's a thing called maintenance. And the big things that happened recently, of course, got the foundation of the boathouse fixed up. We got the foundation of the north wall on the keeper's house. If those things hadn't happened, I think we may have had some of that in Belfast South. So timing was good. We were extremely lucky to have somebody that wanted to make that large donation. It was a really a godsend. We want to increase the amount of donations. by doing that, we wanna increase the amount of time that the museum is open. It used to be open a lot of time. It's now down, it was 2.5 days a week. We wanna double it. And so basically we'd be open, pretty much for a week. We know we're getting a lot of hits on our website. I think it's an amazing number of hits all over the world. So if we can increase that, the participation, which means we want to double the amount of time that we have somebody there greeting visitors. So we also are looking at some other ways to captivate the audience, which we're looking at trying to come up with a camcorder upstairs in the lighthouse. And we have a couple of organizations that are working with us, trying to see what we're trying to do it for as little money as possible.
Right.
So most of the things that we really want to do require us to require the Lighthouse Committee to step up and take on different projects, but they need to have your support, knowing that we may want to do business a little bit differently to get that, get the people coming in and doing the donations. One thing that the town paid for, which was a, what they call a CAP report. And it was to look at the collection, which is maybe up as many as 300 items, just for the museum. And those were assessed. We had 2 people that came, spent a couple of days. One did the buildings, one did the collection. And then they wrote a report. That was they came in 2022. They wrote the report last year. I don't know if you've got a copy of it, but it's 50 pages long. And they had a series of recommendations to take care of the collection, others to take care of the buildings. One of their recommendations was to do something that we couldn't agree to, which was to raise everything up. Well, the cost of that would be somewhat prohibitive under these circumstances. So we did, I don't know if you had a copy of our responses to every one of the recommendations. So we are very much involved with taking care of the collections that are there. We're getting new ones coming in. We don't get a lot of new ones, but interesting ones. So we have a process for dealing with that. The rising tides issue. Everybody's concerned about it, particularly because of the last few storms that we had. We had 3 storms that really pretty heavy. We had a windstorm in December 18. They got rain in the western part of the state. And we didn't get that. They got the damage there. We got the high wind damage. So a lot of the trees that Babe was talking about, I think came down on December 18th. So then we had the 10th of January and the 13th. Those 2 storms were really significant. As far as the lighthouse is concerned, the first one on the 10th, had everything. It had the wind, it had the tide, but it also had a surge. And the surge is what did the damage down at the lighthouse. It came in, and moved stuff around. And we thought the next storm was gonna be worse because it was projected to be a foot higher tide, same kind of thing. we didn't get the surge. That's the only difference. So, what we'd like to do is to continue with our restorations as best we can. And at the same time, maintain the lighthouse. And to maintain it means that what we want to do is, let's say, take the windows that were stolen, we want to have those, new ones put in, but then put shutters, heavy duty shutters on the outside. So if you get a storm, you get different things coming in, they're gonna run up against the shutters. And we think that's the most prudent way to go, as opposed to try to, move it somewhere else, no place to move it. And you've got 5 buildings there. So that's what we're thinking, and what we'd like to do is continue with that. So, how do you folks feel? Do you like that approach, or do you want us to do something different?
I think it's a great example of what we had been talking about earlier about forward thinking and trying to do, predicting what might be the best way to solve a problem rather than waiting for the problem to hit you and fixing it. So, no, I think that's a really good idea. I just don't know, shutters, are they gonna protect from storm surge or only from wind? I mean, are they still gonna get water through those shutters, or is that something that,
Well, there's a lot of, I said that just conceptually,
okay,
but there's all kind of different
okay.
features to them. We may, you might lose a window because of the strength of the sun banging on something. But I think we can come up with something that's really gonna, it might not hit every storm that comes along over the next 10 years. But I think we can do a really good job of protecting it. And we also are going to be doing something with the collection. We're trying to move it so that it's in the safest place that's available. Right now, it's upstairs on the first floor, but on the annex has the other, which is a second two-story thing. We'll have to look more about doing things in the tunnel. What our goal is to open up the lighthouse. People can come in and do the museum, go down the tunnel, go up through the tower and get up to the lighthouse and have a great time. Because we just did a survey, community survey, some of them maybe participated. And I think we had 190 some odd hits. And there were only 5 of them that didn't like what we were doing. They didn't want to do anything. So that last question.
Right.
But 5 out of 190 some odd show pretty good strength.
That does, that should vote.
Huh?
That shows good resolve for,
Yeah.
it's
So we put that in
the first thing people see when they come in, yeah.
Yeah, the Lighthouse Committee has done a lot of work, well, a lot of work. It's very impressive. The Lighthouse Committee has done a lot of work. It's very impressive.
Well, we thank you. I think people appreciate when we do something. Bill's working on restoring some of the windows. There aren't many people that would take that on because it's extremely time consuming. All of the putty is like a rock on the windows. And when they were doing the foundation, he said it was the hardest thing he'd ever run into. So, that's really good. So do you have any questions you would like to have us answer?
I'd like to speak to Lauren's question directly, if the shutters. I'll do it quickly. The shutters will protect the lower windows from water damage, water-driven damage. The upper windows would be protected only from wind-blown wood, things
So
like
different
that.
kinds of,
But on the last storm, what happened was one of the windows broke, and that allowed a surge of water to come in, which brought a lot of mud into the interior. And had that window been protected by a shutter, it would not have broken, the water couldn't have gotten in and the mud couldn't have gotten in. Also, the windows, as Ken said, I'm trying to fix some of the windows, they're not in good shape. And, any protection we can afford them from wind damage or water damage would just give us more time until we can replace them, because it's gonna cost a lot to fix them and it won't cost much to fix them, but to replace them will cost a fair amount of money. And personally, I don't want to fix the frames until we deal with the overall structure of the building. So I'm willing to work on the sashes, but I'm not gonna work on the framework on those, because that's gonna shift as the building shifts. So I think the shutters, at least on the first floor, will protect from potential storm, water, and wind damage. The upper floor, not so sure, but it looks better if you do the whole building the same way.
thank you.
Just so that you try to keep a pace up. We're working with Jim Leslie. Jim Leslie is recognized as the historian, forget the name of the best person that you could hire anywhere around to restore the Lantern Room and do the work in the tower. He's presently doing Vinyl Haven, Browns Lake. He then is gonna be doing Eagle Island. So, you know what that one. Then we're gonna try to meet with him this next week to see when he can work us in. Bill had an idea we might be able to kind of stage it, do it at different times, do one part and go do something else, come back. The first one is gonna be the Lantern Room. And he agrees we should do that first, because it's leaking, everything is coming down, going down through. If we do that, if we get our grants and we continue to do the maintenance that we have to do, and he can come work this summer, let's say, summer and fall, we could conceivably have all of that done so that we could, people could go up into the Lantern Room next year. So,
What about the lead inside the tower, lead remediation inside the tower,
the what?
lead inside the tower?
He didn't say there's anything in there, in his, estimate that he gave us.
First report
No.
says there.
Rachel, you agree with that?
No, the first report said there's lead on the stairs.
On the stairs,
Yeah.
no, but up in the Lantern Room.
He didn't say there was anything in the lantern room.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because people don't normally go up in the Lantern Room, but I thought that's why it was closed, because of,
Well,
inside the tower.
yeah, the tower has the lead paint somewhere in there. But anyway, we're, it's kind of fluid right now. All right, well,
I think that's part of what we have, where the grant.
Anything else?
So maintenance and getting that going.
No,
It's
I'd say, I mean, the committee has really, seems like it's been re-energized in the past several years, and you guys are doing a tremendous amount of work and putting together a number of grants, so thank you for all that, I mean, I feel like there was a lot of activity right after that first storm. The Lighthouse Committee showed up in force at the ferry to get things cleaned up, and so the volunteer effort is very much appreciated, and all of the efforts to get grants to do this work is also very much appreciated.
actually, we've got a lot of talent on the board anyway. One of them is, there's two or three of them that, are doing a lot of publicity. we're trying to put that out, and I know Terry is always interested in trying to make people understand what we're doing. Because when people come, and so we're taking pictures and putting those out for people to see it. That's what we intend to do. And also, one of the parts of the grant involves the school. Now, there's not much has gone on between the school and the town. This is, we're gonna do things, the Lighthouse Committee is gonna work with students in history, because we've got all of some great stuff there they can learn. Also, we're gonna do some science concepts, like we have enough items around the lighthouse that are full of science concepts, and principal is very supportive. She wrote a letter of support for doing it, so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Anything else?
We will resolve the issue of potential revenue power.
I look forward to being up in the land room next year.
Yeah. Thanks
So thank you guys
for taking the
very
time
much.
to come here and fill us in. It's very much appreciated. Great work.
You were excused.
Or you could stay.
More like kicked out, but.
Stay.
Valentine's Day with all my
Have a
favorite people.
chocolate.
Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you guys for all your hard work.
Yeah, thank you all.
All right, going back into our regular order, ferry service update. I spoke with John King last week, who I know met with Bill Culver while he was away on a variety of different ferry related things. I don't think that there's any necessarily action items coming out of it, other than it is helpful to know that John kind of remains pretty vigilant and focused on making sure there's good communication with DOT as they plan for the new ferry and what that means for connections and docking on both sides, and sort of transitioning a bit into sea level rise update, also helping to be a conduit between what he's talking about with them with the ferry service, and pushing them on the need to begin conversations with the town about planning for sea level rise on Ferry Road. So that's the only thing I've heard about for ferry. I don't know if you have any other ferry service update.
No.
Okay. Sea level rise update. Our next meeting is next Wednesday, the 20th, and we are waiting on information to come back from the GZA consultants at the Narrows. So anticipate next meeting really starting to focus on how we can start moving forward on other areas that we need to start planning for.
Well, the dates are still the same, right? Somewhere close to March 6th, we should be getting the guaranteed maximum price. You know, say a little prayer for us. If it comes in, at or under the estimate, then we're good to go. If not, then we're looking at, coming to the municipal building committee, will make a recommendation to select board. In any event, if we have to do a warrant, then we'll be coming back to the town to request that approval, and that would be likely at that April meeting. That's kind of where we're at with that, right? April 10th?
Right, so on April 10th at our last meeting, we talked about having the kind of informational meeting.
Right, on the
But if, if we needed to have a formal town vote, the idea would be to perhaps turn that into a special town meeting rather than a town information meeting.
Yeah. I mean, the clock
Because I
is
think trying to
ticking.
get more people out multiple times isn't gonna work, and so doing it, you need to do it in one shot, yeah.
Yeah, and the clock is ticking on, getting construction started if we do get the warrant approved. Or warrant amendment, we're not sure which way.
It's a warrant.
Warrant, okay, thanks. So, that's it.
Any questions for Lauren? All right, upcoming meetings and subcommittee reports. There's a planning board meeting February 26th. The, Hillsborough Economic Sustainability Committee is meeting on February 27th. The Sea Level Rise Committee meeting on February 21st. And tomorrow night is our meeting with the town committee chairs.
4:30.
Lauren asked if there was gonna be a Zoom option for that.
Nope.
But I had to post it as like I asked how many people would show up. If there's over 2 board members, you have to post it as a meeting. Excuse me, so I'm posting it as a workshop.
Okay.
Committee chairs.
So does that mean you don't want me in Pete?
No, everybody can come, it's posted.
Because if it's two, then, okay, it's posted, got
You
it.
don't have to attend, but we are happy to have you.
We're covering the bases.
I like it.
Do we have an agenda for that or not yet?
I can give you a list tomorrow, or I'll put it in your box tonight of the members, which I might have already done that, all the committees.
Yeah, but it would be helpful to have that again.
Yeah.
Change since the last meeting.
Yeah, and
With X
I was
factors.
the agenda from my perspective is to, just have a chance for people to give their top priorities. So 3 minutes of here's what our committee priorities are, what we're working on, what you're likely to hear about in the budget process, with the goal of starting to identify trends, particularly, I think as it relates to Jen Eden's report and what other capacity committees might be looking for.
Do we want to touch on a code of conduct or let that wait to it later?
It's a good question. I think maybe it's something that is worth bringing up as something that a committee is working on, and, maybe we could do that in the beginning so that if there are areas where people would want to see particular feedback or have that included, that they could be mentioning that during their remarks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Do you, since it's a meeting, do you want Carrie there to take notes? Because normally, and I can't guarantee I'll be there. I have a dentist appointment late tomorrow and I may not feel like coming, but normally I would have just said, taken little brief bullets of what people are saying, but,
Since it's a workshop, and not a full-on meeting,
The only thing is, as people go run through, we have to be able to copy, if people are bringing up notions of what their committee is really concerned about, to be able to capture all that information. So either a recording or, if I'm there, I can try to take notes, but I'm not the best secretary in all the world. So if it's possible, that would be great if you could participate, if that's. makes
No,
sense to do.
I would agree. I know it's last minute notice, so I understand if it's not possible. If it is possible, we would love your,
Believe it is possible.
thank you.
Yes.
At the broadest level of,
Yeah, not
it's
at
not-
your
yeah.
usual,
right?
every single detail,
Yeah.
broad
Bullets,
scope.
bullets.
You'd be surprised at how much I leave out.
Really? And thank you, that some things are left out.
Are there any other subcommittee reports? Okay, town manager report.
All right, I have, given you minutes from the January 18th Harbor Committee meeting, minutes of the January 25th Lighthouse Committee meeting. On the 7th, I received a letter from Jensen Baird, from Sally Baggett, announcing that she is, resigning as town attorney and she's relocating to Colorado. And the firm will no longer be able to serve as our town attorney. They will, however, Mark Bauer, if it's a specific project, Mark Bauer will be able to continue as our counsel for the broadband. And I did speak with Sally for a minute today. Her last day is going to be, March 22nd. I said, do I need to do anything? Because this says as of effective June 30. I said, well, I need to do anything for Mark, write something saying we can, you want to keep him, should know, just continue on with him as we. We're going to need to advertise. Of course, I've asked on the list for some proposals from other towns. I was hoping for more small towns than that, or some larger cities, but they may not. So I've only got 4 so far, so I just want to know how you want to proceed. Do you want to have a workshop to go over the RFPs and see what we need or what you think we need in a general council? I looked in the files, I couldn't see where, when we went with Jensen Baird, that was probably, she said 13 years ago.
Wow.
I didn't see anything that would have been Jeff Grossman. I have no idea. I was tempted to email them and say, you have what we heard something that you still have to add, but anyway, so that's something that, we're gonna need to deal with. I've given you the Bar Harbor Wealth. Do you have any questions about that?
No, I mean, I think it would be helpful to look at some example RFPs and to have just sort of a high level summary of what you use, what you're contacting Sally for most regularly, so that.
And what we could do is go through the notebook I have with bills, she breaks it down every month, that's how they get coded out, who does what, which is the stuff, I won't say every day, but they're just questions, that people want a real answer to. I'm not gonna make it up, and I do go to the listserv, but I don't always trust what other managers are doing, they give some crazy answers. You really need to know legally what you can and can't do. Like right now, provider came to me about, can we put the sign on the front door saying no firearms allowed? I don't think we can. So I know employees, if I had a weapon, I'd have to lock it in my glove box to bring it to work in the car, but I couldn't bring it inside. But I don't think you can do that to the public. So that's kind of where I started with MMA legal. And then they said, consult your town's attorney. So that's what I've done with Sally. It's a very gray area, but I think you cannot. If the health center were a private, since it belongs to the government, it's public, that makes a difference if it was just a private building.
So then it defaults to the state's rules in terms of where
I mean,
you
it could
carry
be
it.
any other weapon. People don't have, if they conceal them, that's one thing, that's open carry for weapons. So things like that are important to know, before somebody goes ahead and tries to do something.
Do some law offices have more of a specialty with municipalities?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that would be a big thing to look for anymore. Yeah, it's different, and you can always ask Dave, different law,
Yeah.
regular practice.
So do we have a deadline that, where we'd like to have the RFP released by, so that we can try to have somebody on board before, hopefully with a little bit of overlap? I guess perhaps that's not necessary there.
Yeah, it won't be overlap with her, but
Yeah.
I won't get it. But, as soon as you want to get together and look at and I'll try to get some more of these, proposals for RFPs from other towns, and see. So as soon as we go through that, then we could get it listed, posted.
Yeah, it seems as though, we use the Sally and law firm quite a bit. So having that in place sooner than later.
Right.
I don't know. And with things coming up with the building, you know, I mean. But if you look at what we budget, it's not excessive. We budget 12,000 a year or something like that, kind of. And it's between broadband, they use it a lot, because of various reasons. But it's like I said to her today, I feel like we're being divorced and I don't get any custody of anything. It's a lot, I'm losing everybody. But, I can either try to get some more and send them to you, or send you, like I have from Cape Elizabeth, Armington, Bath. I think I had Lincolnville too, they had one a while ago. Cause I called up Dave Kinney immediately, I said, are you losing Sally? No, they weren't. Well, I mean, they're gonna lose her, but they're not losing the
Jensen Bear.
Jensen Bear.
Yeah.
I don't think they're using that much, and board is different.
Might
So-
be
That's a new thing on the horizon. I was not expecting that, but. So I've given you the Bar Harbor Capital Reserve through end of January. Notice of the committee chairs and the notice that we sent out to the chairs. And the notice of the presidential primary election, March 5th. I had an email from Mark McHugh at the state of Maine, DOT highway program, telling us they're going to be doing a light capital paving project, which means they're not gonna pave very thick. It's gonna be minimum of what they can pave this year, between Ferry Road, Mill Creek and West Bay Road. They're kind of just giving us of what they're doing, the areas, and letting us know. It doesn't have a specific date, it says 2024 season.
In the past, have we used the same firm and could we piggyback with them while they're out here to save money on paving needs
It wouldn't
or?
save money,
Okay,
because I did that once, thought that was gonna be great. And their paving is it has to be to meet if there's moisture on the leaf or underneath the leaf, they won't pave that day. I mean, they're very cautious, so they have to do it, so. But that was a year which we got a free half of the road paved up by Carlton's, because they didn't pay attention to the marks that they had put in the road for us, and they just kept paving. I said, well, thank you very much for that. But no, it did not really save us, which everybody thought it was gonna be a great thing. Okay, so everybody knows this probably, I'm probably the last one to tell you, but East Shore Drive is open as of Monday. They were coming Tuesday to remove their big equipment. They will be back in the spring to, reseed some areas that perhaps they've driven on, maybe on, and they're gonna replace Lars Nelson's culvert, which they've done a lot of backing in there. So, they're gonna do that. I've sent notes to the Boardman family and to the Maple Grove Cemetery Committee for use of their private roads during the East Shore Drive stabilization, just to thank them. And I know we have to go back to Boardman. Bill was in to see me yesterday to do something, because sounds like they're gonna do a lot of work to their road too. And he was asking me if I had an amount of money in mind. I said, I don't. I mean, I know we were gonna, grade it and fill in, areas that were, and we have to get Dave to do it. He has a small grader, so we'll figure that out when they get going. And Maple Grove, when it's dried out, we'll do the same thing, you know, look at that road there, it's closed now, so that's good. And I know that tree, I don't know who cut that tree, it's like, I know, I say that to Dory every time, I don't, why can't they cut it back? And I said to Mark, why can't you cut it back another 10 feet? You know, just not be done with it, but just get it away from the road, and they just go and whack through. And that big truck that he took down there should not have gone down that road anyway, should not have been a plow with a wind. I just asked for some sand on the road, I didn't know, I'll never do it again, I'm gonna ask him again to do it. But it was icy, because I was there that morning myself, and Kizzy had gone off the road, slid off herself, because I went the other way, I went down toward the stabilization project to look at it, that was just kind of muddy, there was no ice that way, because the sun gets in there. But it was icy, so I don't know what, he's talking about in that picture. And the dirt roads were posted, yes, on Monday, so. Thank the Lord for that. Budget, revise the budget calendar, so we haven't really, maybe you're going to talk about this when you talk about your own little comments tonight, but we talked about none of us, three of us being here on the 13th of March, that's the second budget workshop.
okay.
So if you want me to, I can redo this, but just cancel that date and then just push dates, pushing back. So
But we still have the 27th.
we'll have the 27th. Yes, we'll have the April 3rd. It would start on the 6th, and then we just would miss that 13th. It would go to the 20th, the 27th, and then April 3rd.
Are we canceling the select board meeting on the 13th as well, or
Well, that
was that required? And we'll have to do something with Lauren participating remotely to,
Isn't that when you're going?
right, well, that's why Lauren would have to participate remotely and it would be the three of you. So that would be, are you gone then too?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't leave.
you'll get to go. The payroll Kathy can do and Melissa can sign the payroll.
I know you did.
I know, she's so good.
I know.
But the warrant, if we let bills go, I'm just talking out loud here, that would be almost like a month, some of them. Three people are supposed to sign the warrant, you know, if Lauren's just on the Zoom, she can't, I can verify that with an attorney, find out if that's legal. You know, if they only have three people, one is on Zoom, does that make a legal meeting for signing a warrant?
So what you're saying is we do need to deal with the warrant, and we have to sort out how to handle that with only three of us.
Yeah,
And I'm going too, so
I won't be here.
yeah. So
Me, you did.
is there any other,
Should proxies be called for something like this? Proxy votes or proxy type of situations?
I mean, I'm literally not going to be here, so if you're not there, I don't see how we could sign a warrant if it requires three select board members.
Well, I'm gonna find out for sure if that
Okay.
is,
Okay.
could I ask her if you could, no, you won't be back for a while, but, or Shay could sign it.
But just maybe have a verbal authorization over Zoom.
Right, I guess I would get Sally's perspective. I think that the other thing that we could do is to add a very brief select board meeting on the 6th and or the 20th that just included approving the warrant when we had three people here in person. So that it
The
wasn't a month,
warrant from the previous, I mean. probably-
right, so that it wasn't a
So
month
it's not a month.
between
Yeah.
when we could approve and sign the warrant. Since we'll be here for the budget workshops anyway.
Yeah, let me look into that tomorrow and see. Yeah.
The 20th should include, I don't know if you have to put it on here, but the municipal building committee guarantee maximum price would be at that select board meeting too. Am I missing something?
This is the budget workshop.
But on that agenda, you're saying on the 20th, I'm sorry, or did you say for
The
the
27th,
the 27th?
is our regular meeting.
Yeah, so they'll still work.
Yeah.
Yeah, in general. All right, let me find out about that, how that goes. And, yesterday, Dominic, Superintendent Dominic Patsy, reached out to me about meeting with me to go over the superintendent's budget, he and, Julie. But I recommended they come and meet with the select board, that's typically what they should do, not just meet with me. So, he was gonna look into that, whether he would send Julie, or I said, or if Julie came to a select board meeting, you know.
Yeah.
Just give a little,
Yeah, I mean, it would be helpful, I think, from a just overall tax perspective to understand what are the major things that the school's anticipating as they're going through their budget, so that we can be aware of that. And also, you know, for us to have a chance to let them know what our priorities are so that they can, you know, recognize it's a balance.
so when they say it's the, he said it's the superintendent's,
It's the school board.
okay. I
It's
wasn't
not
sure if
his.
then he gives it to them and they haven't approved.
They've already done it.
Oh, they've
they've
already
already
approved
approved
it?
They haven't approved the budget, as I understand it. I think that they just presented it and now they're having budget workshops, is my understanding. That was the way that I understood it, but.
Cool.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else? No. Okay.
Fred had his hand up a few minutes ago. I don't know if he has a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Fred. You still there? Oh,
Took me a minute to get that button clicked on. I was just gonna say that on the cemetery road, Janet, that was the day that we had to get it open and we hired one of the private contractors to go down and open it up. So that might have been why it wasn't cut back, was because it wasn't one of our regular road crew that did it.
Well, that's even worse than if it's a private person. Well, I'll talk with you tomorrow about that and find out who that was.
Okay.
And get them to go back and,
That should be that.
I don't know,
I wouldn't say right now.
Okay, thanks, Fred.
That's all.
Anything else for Janet? All right, let's approve warrant number 17. The $274,980.01. Second? Second. Any questions, discussion?
Stick there.
All those in favor? Aye. We have no appointments and I have no further comments tonight.
Yes, I have no comments.
Pete?
Not for this week.
Go Eagles. Boys
Yeah.
have playoffs. They've advanced in their preliminary round. They will play Saturday at 1 o'clock. Girls have continued on. They will play Monday, the 19th at 10:30. They came in the 7th this year so far. And Logan Burns is our sole representative for state indoor track and field. He qualified in 2 meets or 2 events, and he also runs the 19th, runs and jumps.
And jumps.
Yes,
So
so
he is multi-talented.
lots of,
Yeah, I hope he
Athletic
got
kids.
basketball.
I'll be good one.
All right. Nothing else? Let's adjourn. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Pretty sure Pete motioned that.
If I didn't hear it.
Is this you, Janet?
Yeah.